All right, welcome everyone. It is a little after 6 p.m. here on the East Coast. Of course, what is about 3:03 over on the West Coast. And you are listening to Beav's World here on Sports Radio 102.9 The Game, along with the Coastal Sports Network. Tonight, of course, as always, on this Monday evening, and of course, Wednesday evenings as well. It is Beav, aka Jay, out there from Michigan, as we will, pardon me, as my voice got a little bit scratchy there, but we will take you up to a little bit after 7 o'clock as there is U.S. stuff going on this evening. So we'll be up till a little bit after 7. But in the meantime, you guys can call or text the show at 727-858-6650, 727-858-6650. And of course, you can make your comments here live on the social media. So lots that happened over the weekend there, Beav, and still a lot of controversy as people are still talking about, do they believe that Kansas City actually won their game yesterday, or has the conspiracy theorists that continue to put stuff out there on social media saying that maybe Kansas City did not do the damage that they should have done? But then again, as I always mention, 60 minutes that you have to win the game. And if Buffalo was going to Kansas City, you had more than ample time to be able to say, hey, by the way, we beat them and we beat them by X amount. But they didn't. They let it get close again, 32-29. And now many people are saying Sean McDermott has to be let go. I don't see it. I know it's the first thing the fans want to do, the natural reaction. Yes,
I'm leading that charge, by the way. I'm leading that charge. He should have been fired at halftime, but continue.
But yesterday, even I sent you a text during the game yesterday. I said, fire Sirianni. And that was during the game. So, it's one of those things that I know that people are going to get upset. I know people don't believe in Sean McDermott anymore, but you also got to take a look at Josh Allen as well. You are the leader of that offense.
No, but he's hamstrung by his incompetent idiot head coach who doesn't know when to go for 2 points. And by the way, he's supposed to be a defensive guy. And I don't look at the Bills' defense and being an elite thing. The Bills just need a change. It's not working. It's very much like the Steelers, where guys have shelf life, and a lot of people want to run off Coach Bowles with the Buccaneers. Him in there a couple of years, and they've had the upheaval with the coordinators and everything. But McDermott is not a good coach, and I don't know what he does. Their team's good because they have Josh Allen. There's nothing he does there. Say what you want about Sirianni, and trust me, you have. That team's good, and they have a lot of different personalities. There's a lot of big guys there, and I thought Jalen Hurts stepped up, which was big, obviously yesterday. But you bring in Saquon Barkley, and the team is still good. Their defense has made a lot of changes with the young defensive backs and Zach Braun and a lot of the Georgia guys coming in and having bigger roles. But you killing Sirianni is nothing new. But Sean McDermott is, I mean, again, I don't know what he does. And Andy Reid just continues to, when they need a play, they find a play. And it's not all Mahomes. Mahomes makes plays. That's great. But there are guys getting wide open because of the plays and calls that Andy Reid does. By the way, no matter who Andy Reid has had at quarterback, his teams have been good. Right. So this isn't Bill Belichick where he sucked his whole life unless he had Tom Brady. Okay? So there's parts to this that are there. But, as far as the refs, yes, the calls were horrible. By the way, on the 4th down call, they didn't give Josh Allen. I thought they got the first down on the 3rd down play, the receiver hitting the marker, and the stupid jump ball catch play, which I still don't understand how the hell they called that. But when you are playing that team, you can't have a coach screw up going for the extra point or 2 points twice. You think they like to have those 2 points now? It changes the whole game, the way the Chiefs have to operate, because that moron at the end of the first half, he completely lost the game. They got the momentum after the great catch over the shoulder. It was great catch by the Bills receiver. I forget who it was. I think it might have been Riley. Who was it? Amari. Who was the guy who caught the ball at the end of the first? Was it Amari Cooper? The over the shoulder.
Yeah.
I forget who it was. But he caught that. It was a great catch. And this moron is so concerned with getting within 3 points instead of making the proper play and getting it. It's a like you don't think you're going to score another touchdown the rest of the game, Sean? So you tanked your whole team over 1 point by going for 2 points. They got stopped. And then again, the other thing, and don't even get me started on the tush push thing. Hey, by the way, Angel, let me let you know a secret. Apparently, the Eagles are the only team who know how to do that right. Because the goddamn Bills tried it like 10 fucking times and they get it right once. When you do the tush push, let me go over this for you. Your quarterback is supposed to take the ball from the center and fall forward and have guys push you. Moron McDermott has Josh Allen like taking a dive over the left guard. There's the other reason why he should be fired. And then they ran it over and over and over again, and they kept doing it wrong. That's not the refs. I hate the Chiefs. I want the Chiefs to lose, but that's not the refs. The refs are complicit. But you know what? The Chiefs and the refs walked you to the water. You decided to drink the Bills. Stupid. Did they make Kincaid drop the ball? By the way, what a throw by Josh Allen on that play. So, I mean, and by the way, the Bills, listen, cry all you want. The reason why you're in this game is because a Ravens guy dropped the ball. Remember that. Very important. Yeah.
It's true.
So here's the reality. Here's the thing. I don't care whether you like me or not. I'm going to always tell you the truth. Okay? That's the reality of the world. And by the way, the reason why that game yesterday, the NFC Championship game, was so shitty, because the Buccaneers blew the game when they had the Commanders. They had a better team, and they fumbled the handoff, and they screwed up a goal line series. And then, for whatever reason, known to me, the Lions played the worst game they probably played all year in their biggest game of the year, and their quarterback reverted into pumpkin Jared Goff. So it was just that team. Dan Quinn did a tremendous job. That quarterback's an MVP candidate. But that team is not better than either the Buccaneers or the Lions, and they both screwed up. Would have been a much better opponent for the Eagles, particularly the Lions. But the Eagles did what they did. It's not their fault that everybody else screwed up. They went in and they kicked their ass, and that was good. They played well. Though the Chiefs are favored to win the Super Bowl for a reason. But here's the deal. There's two ways to win in this league. There's a line of scrimmage, which is a huge advantage for the Eagles, both lines of scrimmage. Your D-line and O-line, particularly your D-line, is going to murder that Chiefs offensive line. That Chiefs offensive line is not good. That was a big part of why the Bills held up. Jalen Carter and friends should have a big game. They're also, the word on the street is Brandon Graham's going to try to play. That's going to help because you don't have a lot of defensive ends. You've had some injuries there. So the other part of it is the Kansas City D-line, which is dominant, Chris Jones and friends, gets Lane Johnson and friends now. Now, I know you have some injuries at center and guard, but by the Super Bowl, you should be squared away better. You got 2 weeks. That's a big deal. The one guy who was out, Cam, is it Jurgens, who was out?
Cam Jurgens?
Yeah. He was close to playing or being able to play. Did he dress and just not play? Or did he not? Okay. So if he was hurt and beat up going into the game, he'll be okay. That extra week's a big deal. And the travel really isn't that bad for this game.
No, not at all.
Yeah, you're going to New Orleans. It's not like you're going to Mars. Now, there might be snow in New Orleans, so that's part of the problem. But, no, I mean, I think it's the line of scrimmage versus the coaching quarterback tandem. And, by the way, I have some experience in this because 2 of the 3 Super Bowls we lost, we had the better coaching quarterback, but we lost to the line of scrimmage team, the New York Giants. The other Super Bowl we lost to your team because the head coach betrayed the quarterback and didn't play Malcolm Butler. So there you go. So that's how you get these games. You look at head coach and quarterback, line of scrimmage, whichever you prefer. And by the way, Jalen Hurts, I'm talking about this year and right now, because Pat Mahomes has morphed into kind of the game manager guy. He gives the game what it needs. He doesn't have to go and throw for 5,000 yards because they got a good defense. And they've become a better running team with the O-line. They're more ball control. They can win the close games, which they did again in the in the game. I'm going to sneeze here. Hold on. There we go. I got it. The held up and they win these low-scoring defensive games. So don't laugh, people. Jalen Hurts' role on the Eagles is close to where Pat Mahomes is in that he controls the game now with Saquon Barkley. He doesn't have to throw the ball 25 times to A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and Goddard. So he's more of the game manager. And they play the low-scoring type of games now. So the fact that this isn't going to be 75-72, which would benefit Mahomes because he's clearly the better pure passer. He's better than just about everybody except Joe Burrow in the league. So I think that benefits the Eagles because it minimizes the talent disparity at the quarterback position. And it's not that Jalen Hurts is bad. It's just he's not asked to do a lot. More running, more, with Barkley being the centerpiece of your team, which is good, by the way, because if you saw the Bills ran the ball up and down the field on the on the Chiefs, which is a good omen for you guys because your O-line and running game is better than the Bills. So we'll see. But it should be an interesting game. Should be a lot of good hype. And the funniest thing is the winningest coach in the history of the Chiefs is also the winningest coach in the history of the Eagles. It's Andy Reid. So he's going to try to beat his old team. So it's pretty funny.
Yeah, it happened 3 years ago when I had mentioned
that wasn't very funny. I said some very awful and mean, nasty words because I hate the Chiefs. So that was. Yeah. By the way, who's the one team that beat the Chiefs, and who's the one quarterback who beat them in the Super Bowl? And you know how many touchdowns Mr. Mahomes, who by the way is supposed to be better than Tom now. That's the other thing that I love. I'm hearing all the time. He's better than Tom. He is. Let's see what he's doing when he's 45 years old, folks. Call me that, please. But no. Yeah, I mean the Bucks beating their brains in. Nobody ever talks about that. It's strange. It's like the media narratives. I think we've got the Biden media contingents in charge with the Pat Mahomes. Pat Mahomes. They new reality of the world, like results. I talk more about Tom's losses than I do his wins on this show. But no, I mean the Bucks beat their brains in, and nobody ever talks about that with Pat Mahomes.
It is
Tom never got his brains beaten in the Super Bowl. Joe Montana never got his brains beaten in the Super Bowl. Now, John Elway did, but part of the reason why John Elway was in the Super Bowl was John Elway was very similar to what Jaden Daniels just did. He carried a substandard roster.
Yeah, you bring up a great point, though, because it is true. No one ever talks about the loss that he had versus
That's why I'm here, Angel. I try to bring up good points. That's why you have me here, buddy. Don't tell anybody.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I won't say anything to anybody, but yeah, it is fun. They won't the entire week will go by. All they'll keep talking about is all the accolades, everything.
They want to move off Tom, Angel. That's what it is. They want to move off Tom. They don't want to talk about that. They did this with Joe Montana. They do this with everybody. When Tom was getting good, they were trying to get off Joe Montana. And now, yesterday's news, the NBA does the same shit with Michael Jordan. LeBron's better than Michael Jordan. Kobe was better than Michael Jordan. At what? At what? Who's the best? Who's the second best player Michael Jordan ever won a title with? Scottie Pippen. Yeah. You want to compare him to Shaquille O'Neal? I mean, yeah. Who would you rather have, Shaquille O'Neal or Scottie Pippen? This isn't really hard. You would really have Scottie Pippen or Shaquille O'Neal?
No,
you're being funny. I mean, just look at the two of them next to each other. And I love Scottie Pippen, but there is no comparison. Like, Kobe Bryant never won without an elite center. Even when he ran Shaq off, he brought in Pau Gasol, who was like one of the 2 or 3 best centers in the league. He never won without an elite center. Michael Jordan's winning with Luke Longley and Bill Cartwright. Not exactly Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Wilt Chamberlain, so there you go.
I wonder why the whole thing was with Scottie Pippen. I know, getting off a little different topic, but
no, I love talking Jordan Bulls. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't understand. Like, does Scottie Pippen not realize without MJ, without that cast of characters that he had, you wouldn't have multiple championships? But he's like, at every chance that he gets, he loves to throw the entire Bulls organization under the bus. And I don't get it. I'm sorry. If someone gave me more than 3 rings, yet alone, if I got 1 ring with that organization, the way I'm looking at it, right. But the way I'm looking at it is you gave me 1. I was eligible for more, but if I went from a team, let's just say I don't know, whatever. I was with Atlanta. I go up to Chicago and I win multiple rings with that organization. Do you really think I'm going to be trash talking anything whatsoever. I may have not gotten along with, maybe the staff or whatever. You know what? You suck it up. And it's one of those things that you are able to win championships, not just a championship,
Yeah.
championships multiple. But he still wants to trash talk the crap out of MJ and everybody else. And I swear I don't get it.
There's a couple things going on. You need to read up on Scottie Pippen's childhood and there's a thing with his brother. His brother was severely disabled and things. So he needed to maximize his money in the NBA. And Jerry Krause, who's like the villain of the Bulls, he's the guy who broke up the Bulls, the general manager, took advantage of Scottie Pippen and signed him to a below market deal. He was like the 135th highest paid player in the NBA when he was like a top 10 player in the league. And then things got worse because they signed Tony Kukoc. And that really pissed Scottie Pippen off. And Jordan used that. Have you seen the documentary about the Dream Team where Pippen and Jordan destroyed Kukoc in the Olympics? And Jordan, midway through it, because Jordan is a consummate businessman and thinking big picture, realized, wait a minute, we're destroying this poor punk. He's giving me my teammate in a couple of years. I don't want this guy to be Brad Sellers, if you know who Brad Sellers is. So they came off that. And then again, when MJ went to baseball and Pippen took over, Pippen thought he was going to get an extension and more money from the Bulls, and the Bulls never redid his deal. And then Michael came back, and of all people, they brought in Pippen's enemy, Dennis Rodman, and they paid Rodman. So these are all these things going on. And then obviously the Last Dance, which was Jordan knew when Pippen and Phil Jackson's deals were up, the Bulls weren't going to pay them. And Jordan tried to stop it. And that's when he threatened to retire. And they didn't acquiesce. And those two left. And Michael retired for like 2 years and then he came back. But Pippen always felt slighted by the Bulls organization. And didn't have an event for Jerry Krause after he died, and they booed him, and his poor wife was crying. So the Bulls are a very dysfunctional organization. There's a lot of comparisons here with the Patriots and what's happened with them, where with Reinsdorf and Krause, and then the Crafts obviously owning the Patriots, where they were winning because of Michael Jordan and Phil Jackson and Scottie Pippen, and they were winning because of Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, Gronk, and all the other players. And then the Bulls people thought they were smarter than everybody else, and they ran everybody off like the Crafts are now. And both teams were notoriously cheap, and there's a lot of comparisons there with things, but Scottie Pippen's a fascinating player. He's one of these fill-in, the block guys. If you've read up on anything about the Dream Team in '92, how much Chuck Daly grew to admire Pippen, because he was one of these guys. When you play with a bunch of other all-stars, the glue guys and the erasers who fill up the stat sheet type of guys, like how John Havlicek was back in the day. I can't stand about LeBron James is like this. Whatever the game needs, he does. Because he can play all five positions. And Scottie Pippen was like that. When they played the Lakers in the first championship team, the '91 game, Magic went crazy in game one. Then they put Scottie Pippen on Magic, and he controlled them. So, everybody needs help. Michael needed a little less than everybody else because, like I said, you rate Scottie Pippen compared to Shaq and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar with Magic and whoever you want to put with Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, Robert Parrish, Dennis Johnson. They're all Hall of Famers. They're all great players. But the only guy who was a great elite player who won it without another elite player next to him was Hakeem Olajuwon in the first title he won. Now, he beat Patrick Ewing after Jordan was gone. And I'm trying to think who else. I mean, David Robinson won with Duncan. Who else? There haven't been that many teams that won championships lately. I mean, Duncan had Ginobili and Tony Parker. Who else we got? the Pistons team that won with Rasheed Wallace and Ben Wallace and Chauncey Billups and those guys. That was like 6 really good players. That was an usual team. The Isaiah Thomas, Lambeer, Rodman team was similar to the Pistons. There were like 7 or 8 really good NBA players. But no, it's interesting to see. Um, I always talk about if and because. If you have this, if Jared Goff has, I keep picking on Jared Goff, but he's an easy one to do. If he has a great offensive line, if he has a running game, it's never we won because of Jared Goff.
Right.
You win because of Joe Burrow. You win because of Pat Mahomes. Before yesterday, you win because of Josh Allen. And that was part of what makes your Eagles team so good. And that's why they're such a threat to the Chiefs is they have a lot of guys. They might not have an if guy. I mean, they have a lot of if guys, but they also have a because guy because you have Saquon Barkley. And you can win that game because you have Saquon Barkley. Because he could go for 175 and Spagnuolo could coach a good game because he guesses wrong on like 3 or 4 blitzes. Guess what happens? Warm up the extra point block team because that's what's going to be coming. And that's what's happened a couple times to you guys. And again, to beat on Sirianni, which is easy to do because I think he's a dope dude. But he's kind of mastered the talent now of getting out of the way. And there are certain people who can do that, like the moron from the Bills yesterday. He couldn't help himself. I still can't believe that he screwed up the 2-point play twice. But and not just getting caught up in the math and not the game situation. There's context to everything you do. You never chase points in the first half, ever. And that's what they did. But no, it's going to be interesting to see. But the Scottie Pippen thing, it's also the NBA. Look what's going on with Jimmy Butler. They just suspended him again. The Heat. Imagine being a Heat fan. And it's very similar to what the Mets are going through with Pete Alonso. You get caught up in the business of sports when it's stupid for everybody. The Heat are better with Jimmy Butler. It's over money. The Mets are better with Pete Alonso. It's over money and a stupid meddling agent who Pete's going to ruin his Mets career because he hired this guy. The team offered him $158 million 2 years ago, and he didn't take it. Now he's going to be lucky if he gets 75 from somebody. And with this doofus agent. And Alex Bregman's going through the same thing, by the way. He's another one that hired Boris. The market isn't what it is anymore. There's about 5 teams that pay big star players, and there's no big money. Your team has spent, but they don't have a lot of openings. My team has an obvious opening, but they're not going to hand over to Scott Boras this crazy deal for Alonso. It just is what it is. So I'm going to probably have to get a new jersey because I got my Pete jersey, and he's probably going to be gone. So there you go. I got my Noah Syndergaard one. He's gone too. So there you go.
Yeah, if I'm sending something here before somebody for Wednesday.
There you go, Pete. Well, we know Pete tomorrow, so there you go, Angel.
Yep. That.
So those of you who are not aware do not know the inside dealings of the Coastal Sports Network and the 102.9 The Game. Angel's like the busiest man in America. He's setting up, texting me, Pete, all the hosts, making sure everything's cool. And then he's super husband. He's got a business. He's got doing college games. He's like, I'm doing this. This is what Angel does all day. So he's shuffling the deck. So that's how you do it. My life's crazy. His is worse. So it is what it is. It is. Now here's the other thing that's cool, Angel. We have the week with the no NFL, with the Super Bowl hype, and we got all the college all-star games. So we get the draft geeks. And Pete and I will talk about this tomorrow. The draft geeks and so my buddy runs the Senior Bowl. Jim Nagy, Michigan guy. I came in right after Jim, working for our football program, and he's got the Senior Bowl going. He's got good weather now. He was worried about the weather because they got snow in Mobile, the Mobile, Alabama area. With the crazy weather with New Orleans and so forth.
Right.
And they had the crazy weather, so the weather here is much better. But it's nuts what's going on with the South, and you guys debriefed me on Florida, upper by Georgia, and obviously New Orleans. Everybody's seeing, and that's Mobile where the Senior Bowl is right in between that. It's all in the Gulf of America now. So there you go. That's crazy when you think about all this stuff.
It is
This
crazy.
weather, but and I broke in to tell you this morning about the earthquake in New England. I did not think I'd be waking up to that phone call.
Yeah,
Yeah,
three.
we had an earthquake.
It's pretty nuts. Well, you figure New York just had one, New York, New Jersey, not too long ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's like towards
Yep.
the end of the year
Yep.
or somewhere around the
Uh-huh.
summertime. So yeah, not surprising whatsoever. No, yeah, I'm going with a guest that I'm trying to reach out to. And it's like you said, I'm always constantly running around doing something. This weekend, we would have had a great time in Gasparilla. Unfortunately, because I have to get the store up and running, I had to do new logos, had to get a bunch of stuff done. So even during the game yesterday, so the work never stops, unfortunately. I wish it did, but it doesn't stop. But Pro Bowl coverage coming up this week as well. That schedule will be coming
Oh, I
out
forgot
soon.
about that. Forgot
Yeah.
about that. Yeah.
So there's a
Pro
lot of
Bowl.
crap to do this week. It's a ton of stuff. And sometimes just my wife tells me, sometimes I got to pull you out the studio just so you can breathe a little bit. And she's absolutely right because it doesn't stop. The fun part was yesterday, yelling and screaming and carrying on as usual. I didn't even get a chance to go down to my crew at Tampa Joe's, but I'll be there for the Super Bowl. I won't miss that with the crew. I need to have the massive celebration with a lot of good folks that
Your
normally attend
your
Philly.
your your initial thoughts, Angel. I know you're an Eagles guy, but you're pretty objective. Other than you want Sirianni's head on a stick, regardless of the score. But what's your feelings on the game? Just 2 weeks away. What do you think right now?
I'm still thinking very, very positive. To me, I feel
I
that
agree.
because of the way the Chiefs have been playing this season and they've been, I mean, just barely pulling out squeaky wins here and
Yes.
there. To me,
Yes.
I'm sorry, it's one of those things that I feel this is the same as 2017, the way I'm feeling right now. Forget about what happened 3 years ago as far as going to Kansas City, because I mentioned to Rich on his show back 3 years ago, and I heard about the field conditions, blah, blah, blah. My thing was,
Oh
is
my
that
God. Oh my God. How bad that field was. Yes. Oh my
yeah.
God.
But we were supposed to, the Eagles were not supposed to have been there that year with Nick Sirianni. They weren't. And then last year was last year to fall out. Nick finally admitted yesterday,
Mm,
AJ finally admitted yesterday that, listen, yes, it's the past, but it's still on our mind. We wanted to finally pass that, and they did. But I'm feeling very confident that Nick Sirianni will get the job done and the Eagles will bring home the Vince Lombardi back again to Philly. And I think someone's got to knock off. And as I mentioned, when it comes to the Patriots, to be the best, you have to beat the best. And that was the goal in 2017. That is the goal again. This will be the redemption tour, for what Andy Reid did a couple years ago against his former team. I think this time around, the Eagles have a better game plan in place. Even when Cam Jurgens coming in yesterday, he didn't come in until after the half because Leonard Dickerson, his knee and his ankle was bothering really bad. So Cam
mm,
sucked it up, came in and took care of business. But there's 2 weeks before they have to
yeah.
do anything. The itinerary already came out with the NFL's what's going to happen with those guys out there, but they don't have to worry about any kind of basically any physical practices until Tuesday, Wednesday of next week.
Yeah.
So Nick Sirianni is going to do a walkthrough as they should on
Yep.
Thursday, probably Wednesday as well. They're going to give these guys a couple days of rest, get
Yep.
them packed up, ready, head on out to New Orleans. So I'm not even worried about it.
No, you're right. And I hate to do this to you, but the first Super Bowl the Eagles went to, they went to New Orleans and they lost to the Raiders. The Ron Jaworski, Harold Carmichael, Wilbur Montgomery, Bill Berge team. They went to they played the Eagles. I mean the Raiders, and John Matuzak and Jim Plunkett and those guys. So Ted Hendricks and just a really good team. But yeah, I feel good. Now again, I hate the Chiefs. Trust me, I'm no lover of the Eagles either. But I think they have the better team. But the quarterback, I just outlined as the quarterback head coach thing. Make fun of your hero Sirianni, who in an ideal world for you, they would win the Super Bowl and then Laurie would make him retire. But it's just funny as hell for the game. But no, I think that match up well. Now the trick is you have to have uh, Andy Reid decide not to play McDuffie at corner like the Patriots did in 2017. So there you go. Have them sit down one of their best corners like the Patriots did in that game. But I thought it was funny yesterday, by the way, the Tommy Nick Foles stuff, which was pretty funny. But on the broadcast, I know you got a kick out of that.
Yeah, no, I didn't. But like I said,
He handled that better than I do, by the way, because I hate. He handles that. But this is the maturity level. But yes, Tommy handles Nick Foles' situation better than me, which whatever.
Well, we get,
Uh,
in the end, it doesn't matter because Tom truthfully got the last laugh. I mean, you got
I know.
seven, seven compared to his one.
I
So
know.
either way, that's the way I would look at it. The one thing I did like, which I mentioned to Pete, as much as obviously I didn't like TB when he was with New England, and obviously beating us
Mm,
one out of two times that we faced him, but
yeah.
I do like, and I preferred him being on the broadcast yesterday in
Over
Philly.
Romo. Over
Yep.
Romo.
Yeah.
Everybody's mentioned that to me. Romo, I guess, was really bad.
He really needs to kind of figure out like do
Is
I
Jim Nance has to be losing his temper with him.
he has to be. He
I
has
mean,
to
and
be.
Jim Nance is a saint, by the way. So, I mean,
If we get working,
have you interviewed Jim? Have you ever interviewed Jim?
no, I reached out the one time, but this was like
Yeah,
a
I
couple
know
years
Pete
ago.
has. I know Pete has.
Yeah.
Uh,
I
Jim Nance is awesome.
yeah, no, I reached out a while back. I'll try to reach out
Mhm.
again because when you're first starting off, obviously no one knows who you are, so they'll just kind of blow you off and stuff. Which that's no big deal. I'm fine with that. But then I'll reach back out and see what he says. Rick, by the way, says good evening, Angel and Jay. Good evening,
There you
Rick.
go. There you go.
And Mickey says hi, Jay, and the guy behind the glass. What's up,
There you
Mickey?
go.
As he tries to be a wise
So,
guy, but
no,
Mickey out
so there
there.
you go. Yeah. So when we got Gary on, when we had Gary Myers on, famously from inside the NFL forever, he had, Mr. Bonacani and Mr. Dawson, who Mahomes broke all of his records, and, Chris Collinsworth and all the different people that he's worked through his career with. I mean, I'm very lucky. I got to know a lot of these broadcasters when Tommy was playing. And Phil Simms was one of my heroes, and he was with Jim Nance forever. And I think Tony replaced Phil, and Phil still does media now, but he was let go with Boomer in the offseason, which really pissed me off because I love Boomer. I love both Boomer and Phil. So there you go.
Yeah.
So yeah, Kevin Harden. What's his name? His dad Harlan. It's Kevin Harlan, and
Oh,
his daughter is on the radio broadcast too. But you know who is great on the radio is Kurt Warner, and Ross Tucker is also very good. But Kurt Warner on the radio broadcast is amazing, and Mike Golick. I mean, I listen to a lot of just regular radio because I don't like TV as much. I'm old school, and when I can, I'll listen to the game on the radio. But I love Kurt Warner. I love almost the Westwood one guys, and Boomer used to do it. Boomer used to do a lot of Westwood. Mike Holmgren does some. It's always a different guy, depending on where the game is, when it's on Monday night or Thursday night. But yesterday we had Kurt Warner, we had Kevin Harlan, and so Kevin Harlan's dad was the GM or like the president of the Packers for a lot of years, and that's how he got into it. And then his daughter Olivia, she's
right.
the sideline person on the radio a lot. So and no, it's cool. I love the. It's gonna be a word, Angel. There's only one more game in the NFL, and we gotta go watch hockey, and I gotta get ready to swear at the Mets every night because that's what I do. And I'm set up to be a bowling pin. I'm a Mets fan. So it's there. We know it's gonna happen. It's just when it is going to happen. Even with Steve Cohen and his money. But no, it's a good thing. But I appreciate all these guys chiming in. That's cool.
Yeah, the first time I believe for Dogsy, as he says, afternoon gents here as a Brit in the States, trying to get my head around the NFL. Beef, I don't know, you're probably a little more colorful.
How can I explain this to my English friends? They are uh like a think of all these other teams. If you're a Premier League soccer fan,
Mhm.
the elite teams like Manchester United and Chelsea and Liverpool and Manchester City now. Remember the couple years ago in Leicestershire City was supposed to be last and they won the league? That's what doesn't happen very much in the NFL. Because once you're the established brands, you get the calls. And you'd probably say Buffalo Bills are like Liverpool.
Yeah,
They get close, but they don't win everything.
yeah,
They're always pretty good and they don't win enough. They get to a certain level. like the Karl Malone, John Stockton, Utah Jazz, and Reggie Miller with Indiana, and Patrick Ewing with the Knicks, those type of teams. So it's hard to explain it to my British friends, but that's cool. There you go.
College
500,000,
basketball.
500,
Fucking dad.
500,000 to one. Well, that's just the city. Yep.
Yeah.
That's just city. I have the book right here. It's funny. I just happen to have this.
Wow, there it is.
It's funny. I've been reading it. So this is promotional moment here, Angel.
Sure.
Look, it's a real book, no coloring book. I actually read real books. So no, it's a great. See, Duncan, and now Duncan's a walking Vegas gambling site, like FanDuel, Duncan Dad. No, it's the Vardy party. Yes, yes, yes. That's
Duncan's right there.
Jamie Vardy, the best player on that team. Yeah, I got it right there. What a great book.
As Rick says that Jay is in the AJ Brown book club.
I like AJ Brown, and there's all these rumors of him coming to the Patriots because of Vrabel, who basically one of the big reasons why he left the Titans was they traded AJ Brown and it pissed him off. So there it is, but it's nuts. It is what it is.
Even if again, because the game has not been played yet, but even if Eagles win their second one, you think that AJ Brown will still fly off and go to New England? Or would he actually hang around because he figures out maybe I can make another run back?
That's a good question. I would think they might be open to moving him because they brought in Dotson.
Right.
And because the way they play with the run heavy, and it's Kenneth Gainwell behind Saquon, and Shipley's a good player. So they have the three-headed running back, and Hurts is a good runner. So why would they need two really high-end receivers? And Devontae's probably more translatable to what they want to do. You get Dotson. You can always draft receivers. You notice how the Chiefs and the Bills were in the NFC Championship game, and they both traded big star receivers in the last couple of years. The next person who posted the Bills could have used Stephon Diggs. No, Stephon Diggs quit on their team, and he dropped a big ball in the game last year that was one of the best throws Josh Allen's ever made. It's crazy. Oh, there you go. Duncan Dad is not only the president of the club, I'm a client too. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, Cy Sperling. No, and anybody who knows that reference, good job. And Norelco Razors and Victor Kayan.
Yeah.
But no, we'll see. It's interesting. I've seen it's gonna be interesting because there's a lot of receivers that could be in play. DK Metcalf, T. Higgins is going to be franchise tagged or moved by the Bengals. Interesting to see what happens. I'm missing somebody. Well, Tariq Hill, God bless anybody who brings him in. Devontae Adams and Wilson on the Jets. Now, what was going on there today is going to be interesting with the Jets and Aaron Glenn and all the other moves that happened. Chris Godwin is another one. I think he's going to leave the Bucs. So we'll see. But the wide receiver market, you can almost always replace. You wonder if Dallas would trade CeeDee Lamb.
I think they are, and it makes it interesting. I wonder if let's just again, just a hypo. Let's just say that AJ Brown decides he wants to stay in Philly. Then you have Chris Godwin's going to go on the market because Tampa's just not going to be able to keep a bunch of folks. Would he be a good fit up in New England?
Who? Chris Godwin or AJ Brown?
No, Chris Godwin.
I don't think so. And has nothing to do with CG. I think CG is a good player. But he's older. He's had a couple injuries. The Patriots are in the early stages of rebuilding their team. So I want guys who are going to be there in 3 to 4 years when the team's supposed to be good. And Mickey is talking about the Four Nations Cup with the NHL players, which is really interesting.
Yeah.
The United States, Canada, the Russians, and Sweden. So that's going to be interesting to see what goes on there. But I'm going to go out on a limb and say I think the United States is going to win that tournament.
At least we hope. I
Well,
really.
if we don't, Trump's going to have them all sent to Siberia. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
By the way, Jerry in Rhode Island says, "Good evening, guys. Can't wait for Barkley to show the world his stuff from a Patriots fan." And he is. Jerry's a super diehard.
Jerry, quick, you're okay with the earthquake, I would assume, because I have friends who live in Rhode Island. I know people are shocked that I have friends, but yes, I have friends in Rhode Island. Yes, I do, and most of them aren't lawyers or doctors. There are a couple that are, but they're real people.
Well, Rick says, "I would like to make a public apology for saying the Bills would win by 13. Probably inhaled too much jet fuel."
Yeah, I remember somebody, that might have been you, Rick, who made fun of me for picking the Lions to win that game the other day. So you're cool. Don't worry about it. This is this show. I'm here to be a pincushion. We all make mistakes. I get up in the morning.
I think I will say, if Rick would have just ordered a nice cup of tea or coffee from freshroastedcoffee.com and put on the discount code MAC20, maybe, just maybe, he would have picked them by 13. But nonetheless, visit freshroastedcoffee.com and put in your discount code MAC20, as in Mike Alpha Charlie 20, for 20% off your next order of fresh roasted coffee from freshroastedcoffee.com. But listen, I think again, going back to it, and before I stop there for a second too, one or the other thing is the big thing as well. You have the Raiders who picked up Pete Carroll, and I
Yep.
know there was a lot of stuff that was going on yesterday. Pete Carroll, who's what I think 74, is going to be turning 74 years old, decides to come back to the NFL, which everybody thought that he was going to be completely done with the NFL. But the Raiders, instead of going, I guess, in a Mike McCarthy way, a different avenue, they decided to bring Pete Carroll in. And it's a 3-year deal, a three or 4-year deal. I think the fourth year is an option. Is Pete Carroll going to have the ability to straighten up the Raiders after the move from Oakland to Vegas?
Yes, because a couple things. Did you watch the press conference today, Angel?
I was on air, so I didn't get a chance to.
God damn it, Angel, you're fired. No, I'm kidding. So no. My buddy John Spytak is the new GM, who I tipped you off about that from the Buccaneers.
Yeah.
So they're like a tandem. And Tommy's involved. He's behind this. And to be perfectly honest with you there, Mr. Davis, I think, is paying 3 coaches. He's paying Gruden. Who was the guy after Gruden? Oh, Josh McDaniels.
Yeah.
And Antonio Pierce. So Pete's the 4th coach he's paying. And Pete doesn't act or sound like he's 74 years old. Like, I have the same problem. I'm 53. I don't act or sound like I'm 53. I sound like I'm 93. I'm kidding. But no, we'll see. Yeah. Well, by the way, Rick, to go on your question about the Tommy and Nick Foles, I was more mad at Josh McDaniels for calling that play with Tom having a fucking hole in his hand. If you remember that game, because remember that was when Tom got his hand destroyed at practice.
Yeah.
Yeah, the famous, if you've seen the pictures of it, he had like his entire inside of his hand had like a hole in it. Because basically his thumb was bent back like a chicken wing, like a chicken drumstick, and the skin was ripped up. So, of course, Josh McDaniels has to have, show how smart he is. Kind of like, who was the doofus who screwed the game up the other night where he tried to be too cute? Ben Johnson with the J-Mo pass when the Lions are down by 10 points with 10 minutes left. Yeah, I mean, that type of stuff. These guys, they do they're in their plays like this. Oh, look at this, and instead of paying attention like McDermott did with the 2-point play. Yeah, Tom handled it well. I mean, who cares? Like Angel said, who cares? 7-1. Let's do the limited mass skills.
Yep.
So it is what it is. But that game still pisses me off because that was Belichick. Belichick screwed that game up, and that's when I'm going to give you some inside information. That was the very first time I thought about Tom leaving the Patriots by our own choices, where we'd be willing to leave because Bill betrayed our trust, and there you go. And things happen. And the more important person in that relationship, the guy behind me over here, also clearly started to feel that way because look what happened a couple years later. So there it is. But hey, Angel, you got a bunch of nice hats and shirts and things, and you got a nice stuff. You won the Super Bowl. There you go. Congratulations.
Yeah, listen, I'll take it. It doesn't matter. I was home for it. I celebrated. Then after that, I kept my promise and I moved here to Florida. But yeah, I don't. I will say this much fun as it would be the second time around, if it happens to go up to Philly and watch that parade, I'm good. I'm gonna right from the nice warm confines of the studio. I'd be more than happy to put on a feed from Fox 29 and 6 ABC when they cover it and then take it from there. But I
Sure.
don't. Much as I love my city, don't get me wrong. At the same time, too, I'm not trying to travel and just add more to what already I'm doing. So I'm good on
Sure.
that behalf.
But one of the cool things, and you, Pete, and I all have the same thing. We're in different markets from the teams we support. Like the day-to-day teams I watch every Bruins game and I watch every Mets game. We can do that with the streaming and the different things. And
Mhm.
Pete and I talk about this, and obviously you can watch your Philly stuff. The other thing you can do, you can watch your news stations on YouTube and different things, and you can see parades and NFL Network shows all this stuff. So there's a lot of cool things. One of the really cool things is you'll see with the NFL Network, you can watch practice, media day, everything with the Eagles here coming up. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the one thing with you, as Rick says, he missed me the last time on Broad Street. I got up that morning, and granted, I didn't go to work all week long. Told my boss, forget about it. You're not going to see me because it was years being with the company, not taking a day off. But I got
Yeah.
up when I lived down there, 4th and Snyder. I went over to the link, started basically before the parade even kicked off, walked down the Lincoln Financial Field, and then made my way all the way out to Broad Street, all the way up Broad Street, and up to the Art Museum. And it's quite the hike if you're doing it, as far as on foot. But I had no problem with it. The only thing that made me upset was at the time I was with Sprint as the carrier, and I had the old Samsung Galaxy 6. And apparently, there were so many people on the towers that I had so much video footage and never made it through because of it being tied up
Yeah.
the entire time, and it pissed me off. And yeah, Rick was right. It was a cold night.
So the funny thing is, because you realize I live 2 blocks from Michigan Stadium,
Right.
and we have the same problem during game days. Everybody's cell phone gets congested, and Kathy and I are at tailgates, and my different friends, same problems. The cell towers just get overwhelmed. You got 110,000 people, and that doesn't even include all the people working security, concessions, everything else, and it's crazy. It's like literally two. And on top of that, you got the TV networks, the satellites, and everything. So when you and I have had fun with this, I'm on there with you, and the fire department goes by, or the police department goes by. I had that accident a couple of weeks ago. Like I was on the air with you, and that very night, this guy got run over out here, and the cops are out here for 4 hours in the middle of the night, at like 11:30 to about 3:30 in the morning, and they were out here. It was crazy. So there's always stuff going on the roads, and this is in the middle of the winter. The summer, the poor guy with the 7-Eleven, he gets robbed 2 to 3 nights a month. He gets like guys walk in there and just rob him in the middle of the night. Like one time, like 2 years ago, he got robbed like 4 o'clock in the afternoon on like a Wednesday. Like literally 4 o'clock in the middle of the day. Now the problem is where the highway is about a mile and a half up the road. So if you can get out of here fast,
Right.
but there's a lot of stop signs and things like that. So if the cops are after you, here's the other thing, Angel. I don't know if you understand this, but when you're robbing stores, you might not stop for stoplights. I'm going to go out on a limb. So you might not follow traffic laws. So Jerry, you doing okay post earthquake?
Yeah, I believe he's fine. He also said he went to the first Patriots Super Bowl parade with his daughter, and it was the biggest mistake he's ever made.
The 01 team.
Yeah.
The 01. Okay. Yeah, that weather for that game. That one was bad. I remember that one. It was really cold.
Philly got moved because it was supposed to be that Tuesday, but because of the rain and it was cold, they decided to move to that Thursday. And thankfully so, because the rain didn't move out until Wednesday, like late Wednesday. And then Thursday ended up being cold. I mean, I know for a fact I had frostbite. Did I care? Not really, because I was celebrating with everybody else. Once I got back to my place, now mind you, my day started at 4:30 in the morning because again, I started at the link to make my way over to the art museum to get a good spot. But by the time I got back to my place, it was, I want to say 7 p.m. that evening. And I think everything that I possibly had on end up just being like detached from my skin because I was so
Sure.
freaking cold.
Yeah.
And then I stayed up all night just to watch the coverage, but I didn't care at that point because again, I didn't go back to work until the following week. And then personally, I did not give not one iota of what my boss had to say to me when I got back. I'm like, listen, say whatever you want to say. I'm the most loyal guy ever that will ever work for you. And that was pretty much the end of it. And plus, when I talked to you, and I was like, listen, say what you want. It's the only time I ever get to celebrate. And plus, I'm out of here anyways. So what difference does it make? And that's exactly what it ended up doing. So I was gone
So
just a
this
couple
was
months
your
later.
job in Philadelphia?
Yeah.
Okay, and then you knew did you know you were moving to Florida?
Oh, I knew I was moving to Florida.
Okay, so you had Plan B.
Yeah.
I
So
got you.
the big bump behind it, I don't think I've ever told you this one was my dad moved here. God, dad's been down here now for 16 years, probably at this point. And
Mhm.
when he moved, he'd call me up. He knew every Eagle season. My dad would reach out to me and say, hey, by the way, here come the Eagles again, huh? How are they going to do? I said, oh, we'll see, Pop, at the end of the year. So, but the third time he called me after the beginning of the Eagle season, he goes, hey, by the way, why don't you move down here? I was like, nah, Pop, I'm not going to do it. And he said, all right. He said, but I'll tell you this much. When the Eagles win the Super Bowl, I will move to Florida. Now, coincidentally, that year when it came up, every year or every day for a year straight in Philly, I would see a Florida tag, never the same license plate. And it was kind of a sign like, all right, you know what? Maybe it's time to move. The icing on the cake was the Eagles won that year, and I kept my
Yeah,
promise to my dad. I moved. So
there
I've
you
been out
go.
here now for, it's coming up on 5 years. I
So
can't believe
so
it
the
already.
funniest thing is, Angel, I got to ask you about this.
Sure.
So that the Eagles championship year, most of that year it was Carson Wentz, and he was playing at an elite level, like Pro Bowl, awesome,
Yeah.
MVP. He goes down. What did you think when he went down?
I honestly thought our season was over because it was like
Yep.
he
Like the
was.
Jeff Hostetler, Phil Simms thing.
Yeah, he was playing lights out and was like, there's no way to work. Like you felt that we were
Yep.
on the road to victory as is
Yep.
painted outside Lincoln Financial Field. And it was like, there's no one's going to stop us. Then he goes down and it's like, oh, all right, what's going to happen here? Thankfully, insert Nick Foles, and Nick Foles got the job done. Don't get me
Mhm.
wrong. But again, that year would have not have happened with Carson Wentz. What I think drove people crazy was the fun. Now, mind you, he came from North Dakota State, big Bible
Yep.
thumper, the whole 9 yards. But then the following year, you decide you want to disconnect yourself from the team after bringing them
Yeah.
all together. They're doing, prayer time. They're doing all kinds of stuff.
Mm.
And because you weren't the one on the field, but no one ever said that it wasn't, everybody knew if it wasn't for Carson Wentz that year, it wouldn't have happened. But then his whole career basically just windfalled all the way down. Now, granted, he's with Kansas City this year. Maybe, I hope not. But maybe he gets his second ring with Kansas City. I don't see it happening because I have the full confidence that Eagles will be able to take care of business. But how in the world you're this super ultra religious guy and then basically told the team, listen, I don't want to play with you guys anymore. It was this guy that should have been on the field.
I get it. Well, there's a couple things here. In Carson Wentz, certain QBs just rub people the wrong way. Like Jay Cutler's the most famous example of this, where you the quarterback has to be one of the guys, yet be the leader. And Tom is the greatest example of this. Like Tommy knows the name of the ball boys as well as he knows Gronk, and that's very hard to do. But here's the thing with Carson Wentz that I don't think gets talked about enough. He's a small school college guy. Now they were great. North Dakota State's an incredible program, Division One AA. But that's not Notre Dame, Alabama, USC, Ohio State, Michigan. It's a completely different thing. So I think he's the big man on campus. He goes to the Eagles, who are a great organization. They're heading towards having a great championship. He breaks his back. He loses his job. The backup guy wins the Super Bowl. And then he's going to come and fight for his job again. And he kind of lost his way. And Foles kind of won the job. So it was just an odd situation. Not everybody's Drew Bledsoe. Not everybody can handle the situation, and that's why I always talk about Bledsoe, because Bledsoe handled that about as well as anybody ever could, and he has fun with Tommy. He killed him at the roast, and other things, but the Carson Wentz thing, and I guess he's done a pretty good job. I believe he's on the Rams, right?
Yeah.
And he's kicked around. Because he's got really good talent. Maybe he can end up being like a Geno Smith type of guy or Sam Darnold and get an opportunity on another team. Because he's got a lot of ability. And not many guys look like him physically, or can do the things he can. So we'll see. But that whole situation was odd. You're not going to see very many situations like that, and it's hard. It's hard to have depth in the NFL. It's hard to have a situation where guys can, you can have a good backup quarterback. The Don Strocks of the world back in the day, and Steve DeBergs and all that one. Steve DeBerg backed up like 5 really good quarterbacks at one time, including Marino and Elway and Joe Montana.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I forgot. Wentz is on the. That's right. He's on the Chiefs.
Correct.
He was on the Rams.
Yeah.
Imagine if that happened, where Mahomes got hurt and Carson Wentz went in.
He wouldn't, because his nerves would get the best of him. Number one, and number two, we already know the super juice is already being injected into Patrick Mahomes.
Wait a minute. Did somebody talk to? Wait. Oh, that was my ass, right? Yes. The vitamins.
Yes.
Angel C, I'm going to teach you to prevent from being sued. The vitamins and everybody's injuries will be magically cured right before the Super Bowl. And you'll see some guys, they look like they've been drinking nitroglycerin, like their eyes are radioactive. You'll see.
Well, yeah, that's why I was going with the whey protein. That's the reason why they were getting injected with the whey protein.
And what's the spray? The spray, the Barry Bonds, the spray. What the hell was the spray? Oh my God!
Either Rick or Duncan Dad will remember it, but yeah, but he tried to use that garbage.
The Ray Lewis did it for his arm. Ray Lewis did deer antler spray, I think.
Or deer, one of the two.
There's a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah, of course, I don't use. Clearly, I don't use any of this stuff. I'm 5'7", about 190 pounds. So this stuff didn't work. I'm the before guy, not after. So it is what it is. But yeah, it's I think it's deer antler spray and the other stuff. And the other thing the guys did, and a couple guys got suspended. They were taking Viagra to stay warm for games. Chad Ochocinco talked about this.
Really?
So, Oh, yeah. Look that up. Yeah, they would take Viagra. Viagra, it helps your circulation. That's the same thing that happened with guys taking Adderall to stay alert.
Yeah, I did hear that.
And then the league started tested. Sudafed's banned for that because Sudafed is like Adderall, wakes you up. So it's
what are you doing? Are you putting a band around your junk and strapping it to your freaking leg? Therefore, you're not walking around.
You're talking about Chad Ochocinco, okay? This guy slept in the Bengals stadium for 2 years to save money. So hey, it's not my idea. I don't need Viagra. I'm the other way, but the other one. So it's just what it is. But we'll see.
It's let's
Duncan Dad and Rick Young. We got some loyal guys. I love it.
Sure do. From morning to night, which is absolutely terrific here on the coast.
Duncan Dad drinks way too much Duncan. He never sleeps. He's worse than me.
Yeah, he doesn't.
Boost me, baby. Boost me, baby.
He's about to take a bunch of trips anyway, so he's ready to be on the move. He'll be down there in New Orleans, so it's gonna be a good time. Duncan Dad.
Oh, he's going to the game. He's going to the game.
I don't think he's going to the game, but he's going to be down there doing some other stuff for the week leading up to it. So he's got some.
Duncan Dad at the Super Bowl in New Orleans. What could go wrong? A lot.
Sure can.
So there you go. That's
like the birds on bourbon.
The Southern City of Sin. There you go.
What I'd like to know is, will anybody be visiting the 9th Ward as a tourist attraction?
I can neither confirm nor comment at this time, Angel. I have no idea what you're talking about.
All
About
right.
about that lovely area. I mean, I'm sorry. Go ahead, continue.
Listen, it's the same way people talk about Philly all the time. So you guys don't
Pete,
know. Look it up.
Pete and I can neither confirm nor deny because the Patriots have been down there. So the Patriots, I think their first 3 Super Bowls were there, and they lost the first 2. So
Rick says he's flying down Sunday and coming back if y'all need anything. Flying down where? You be flying up to New Orleans because you're already down.
New Orleans is really a fun place to visit, and I have a lot of family down there, so it's a cool place. Your fans will have a good time there.
Yeah. Oh, I'm quite sure they will. They have a good time anywhere they go. I mean, say that's nothing new. The only thing
I
was
know they're leaving Philly, so that's an improvement.
it is, but I know my guy over there, Vince Rizzuto from Philly Sports Trips. I know he's, I mean, I can't even imagine the package that can put together because he puts, first of all,
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I know exactly
no
what
one
you're
does it like him. Hands down, no, and I mean absolutely nobody does it like him. And it's not because we're partners or anything else. Even beforehand, just watching what he did when he came here to even in Clearwater and over to Tampa, but it's absolutely insane. But it's just going to be. I could not because they're coming down for the week. So you figured for a couple of days of the room, ticket itself, the money they're going to be spending for food because that's not covered in there either. But it's just I couldn't even imagine how much money is going to be spent. Duncan Dez says Philly sports trips are sweet, and Mickey says Angel, how do you know Rick is down? He might be up. Mickey. Mickey goes on a roll, and then the brakes get pumped really fast, but that's okay. It happens. I don't blame Mickey for it, one way or the other. But Rick says he's going for souvenirs out to New Orleans. You're talking about Rick?
NFLshop.com or Fanatics, Rick. Yeah. Save yourself some trips.
But he gets a fly for free for Southwest, so I wouldn't blame the guy for being.
There you go.
That's what happens when you're. There you go. Yeah, he's been 40 years with Southwest Airlines, and that's why he can do. At this point, he could be the CEO of Southwest. One of these days, I got to break out the Southwest hat. Maybe I'll do it on Wednesday. The show by Southwest Airlines.
That's why I flew Southwest. Go with the Michigan baseball team to Omaha last baseball season. Great place.
See, listen. Every time I try. He puts 15. I try to sell it every single time, and then these guys come up with the honest answers.
There you go.
Yeah.
So,
Duncan,
Angel, you said we're going to close at 7, and we're still going.
Yeah, we got it. Well, let's like everything else. It runs into a little bonus time when the guys are chiming in and everything else. I have an obligation, but I just keep things running. Duncan says I'll be eating ramen in between the hurricanes, rum, and water. That's a hell of a combination. Someone is not going to be feeling too well if you end up doing that stuff.
And get the a crawfish po' boy, and then you get the hurricanes. And the beignets, all the desserts.
Beignets are great.
Yeah, the food down there. Oh my God, is Rick? No, I don't need Eagles gear. Thank you very much. Rick, do you need a punch? Rick, do you need a punch in the face? I mean, no. The food is kind of expensive. Yes.
Yeah, but it's good food though. The problem is
it's really good food. Really good food.
I did have crawdads though, so we did a military joint exercise out there in. Out in Louisiana,
which great we seafood. Had great call by Duncan Dad. Great seafood, crawfish, and yeah.
Rick says I'm bigger than you.
Rick, I've never heard that before. By the way,
but we had this joint exercise in the.
Everybody's bigger than me.
We had it in the military, and we were supposed to be there. So it's a friendly exercise we were supposed to do. Only was supposed to have been there for 3 weeks. Because you have 2 different things you end up doing. One, you go as the friendly foe, and then the other one going as the bad guys, without giving out too many military terms. But
yeah,
so we end up staying there for an initial 3 weeks, which we end up having a great time with it. But we went to this establishment, which there was a restaurant in the parking lot. Now you talk about people making the best of 2 things. So there was it was an L-shaped looking barn, and on the one side. Great restaurant, crawdaddies. I mean, the best seafood, gumbo, you name it, they had it. You can walk through inside the restaurant, to what was considered, which I don't know how in the world they did it, a strip slash dance bar in the same building. Now, I didn't ever see the strippers because I just thought maybe they just threw a sign up there just because. But the dance bar part of it was a lot of fun because you could literally bring like the whole plate of food that you have, go next door, put it on the table, and no one would ever disturb it because they had people looking out to see if if no one ever messed around with your food or drink. It was the best thing ever. But it was a good thing. No, we're not still talking about Viagra there, Duncan Dad. Not at all. That was one thing that Beef Jay brought up. Goodness gracious, I got too many words in my mouth here. But no, crawdaddies are freaking. They were delicious. That was great. Oh boy, Mickey, I'm not even going there. Keep that to yourself. But anyways, that's just Mickey being a clown. But nonetheless, no, Louisiana food is absolutely. I can imagine
good.
that's why you pay for it. It's great. Beignets are absolutely fantastic. But no, it's so well worth it. If any reason why people go down that way, it's definitely for the seafood. It is absolutely fantastic.
We'll see, buddy. It's all different. It's all good.
Yeah. The one last thing that I'll kind of leave off with here is the guys are kind of going back and forth here in the message thread. Sarcastically, obviously, Tom Brady said he is not going to go away from what he's doing on TV to do any more when it comes to the Raiders. Now, I would imagine, obviously, having a stake in the team, he wanted to have Pete Carroll there, and I don't think he wasn't part of the press conference today, was he? I don't think. Did he make it out there out to Las Vegas that you know of there, Jay?
Say that again. I'm sorry, Angel.
By any chance, did TV12 happen to make it out there to the presser introducing Pete Carroll?
Not that I'm aware of. He lives in Miami. He doesn't live in Vegas.
No, I know he does.
I think we would have known if Tom was there. I mean, Max Crosby was there, Marshawn Lynch, obviously Spy Tech, and Pete Carroll and Mr. Davis. No, Tom doesn't. Tom is like me. He lurks in the back. He's very behind the scenes.
Yeah,
we're good at pulling strings,
Speaking of, and I don't think is it still up? It may not be up, but Marshall Lynch apparently, he walked in saying something funny to interrupt the presser. Do I have the story here?
Yeah.
Marshawn Lynch certainly knows how to make press conferences interesting, and that was the case this Monday. The former running back was in the crowd at his former coach, Pete Carroll, who was introduced as the next headman for the Las Vegas Raiders. While Carroll was in the middle of answering a question, a loud voice interrupted, let out a Raiders scream that filled the entire room. It turned out to be none other than Lynch as Carroll laughed the moment off. Let's see if I can get it before we go off here. Nope. Just shows a picture of him at the presser, but it would have been nice if it would end up coming across. Rick says, you will be in New Orleans, Duncan? Yes, Duncan, I know for a fact will end up being there. So he will be there. The timeline, I don't know. That's under super secret lock and key, but nonetheless, you'll end up being there. And yeah, because I don't think, let me see if I can look it up here before we end up taking off. Yep. When it comes to Pete Carroll, let's see if I don't know if it'll be a long or short one or whatever the deal is. Oh, nope, here it is. So somebody yell it out. So let me bring this up as he was at his presser. Share this real quick before we head off.
Mm-hmm. I watched Pete's presser, so I know what you're talking about. Spy Tech is up there.
Yeah.
John's a big guy. John played linebacker for us, so he's a big guy.
So Duncan Dad just said he'll be there Monday through Sunday. So I knew he was going to be there for the week. I didn't want to say anything. I'd leave that up to Duncan Dad. But here is the sound when in the middle of the press conference.
From out of town. There you go. There you go. That's what I'm talking about. Hey, Mark, settle down a little bit.
That was funny.
Yeah.
Those two have some history.
They sure do.
Yeah, thanks to Pete's lack of judgment, we won a Super Bowl. So thank you, Coach.
Well, it was also too the big thing was with with Marshawn Lynch, and again, I don't know what Pete Carroll was saying. You had the opportunity of being back-to-back champions, and for whatever to me, honestly, and he'll probably never fess up to it. I think he wanted to have Russell Wilson as the MVP again. That's my thing.
That's part of it. And here's the other thing. I forgot Russell Wilson doesn't have the ability to audible. I mean, come on, man.
Right.
I mean, what do you think Tom would have done there?
Hand it off. Just hand it off. That's all you got to do. Skittles was on a roll. How on God's green earth do you decide, nope, I'm just going to go ahead and pass it? Come on. But that will
I thought it's the smartest football play I've ever seen in my life, Angel. What are you talking about?
Okay. Yeah. It was for New England at the time. Because, again, that could have been another loss for the Patriots. So you would have figured, so they would have had 5 instead of 6 at that point. But I'm knowing just.
No, the amazing thing, here's the thing. This is why that play is so important and why Tommy loves Malcolm Butler. You realize if we lose that game, Tommy's 3-3 in Super Bowls.
Right.
We win that game. That's our 4th against the 2 to Howdy Doody. And then you guys, but we won that, and then we won the Atlanta and the Rams Super Bowl. And in between, we lost to you guys because Bill decided not to play Malcolm Butler. But, it evens out. That's, again, you playing enough of these games. We probably should have split with the Giants. They were clearly better than us in 2007 in the game. The 11 game was like back and forth. We should have lost the Atlanta game. We should have lost the Seattle game. And we beat the Rams pretty bad in 18. And the 17 game, we should have won. If Malcolm plays, we beat you by at least 10 points. Our team was way better than yours. And Bill completely sabotaged that game. Should have been fired 5 minutes after the game was over. But whatever. You won, we won, Tom left, and won another Super Bowl, so we're good. The sun will come up tomorrow, as Annie would say. Don't make me sing, Angel. Don't make me sing tomorrow. You don't want to hear that. The sun will come out tomorrow. Bet your bottom dollar that tomorrow there'll be sun.
Everybody.
That's as far as I'm gonna go. As far as I'm gonna go. For money, I'll sing more, but that's about. You can pay me not to sing too. That's the other thing.
There you go.
I've probably seen Annie 400 times, so that's probably $3.95 too many, but a lot. I saw it on Broadway with Sarah Jessica Parker playing Annie once. So there you go. God, Rick, you can be banned from my show. Behave. God help us all. It wasn't that. There you go.
See, there goes. There it is.
Go.
Yeah.
Angel. Okay, so far, Rick M and Mickey are banned. Duncan has been elevated. Good job. There you go. So.
I can't tell you how many times I saw Annie as well, but which one I enjoyed the most was Oliver Twist.
I love all it. I was the Artful Dodger. In elementary school in the play.
Were you?
Yes, I was, and I was good. I did a good job. Don't ask how I got into this stuff, but yeah, theater. I got to be honest with you, Angel. You want to know why I did the theater and musical stuff?
Sure.
Girls? Chicks. There you go. Chicks. There you go. So there you go, girls.
We didn't have it in our high school. We didn't have musical theater. I mean, there was plenty of theater for sure, but there wasn't musical.
Well,
theater.
We didn't call it the musical theater. We called it. You're gonna love this, Angel. The Gifted and Talented program.
Okay.
Which of course I was in. Of course, I'm so gifted and talented. So.
Jerry, by the way, says if the Eagles are the one win with Barkley in the backfield, I believe that's what he was going at, and they pass, then we know Casey is scripted. Yeah. Well, we'll see. I hope not. I really hope not. And I know
why would the Eagles be part of the script with the Chiefs? The NFL got what they wanted. They got the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. I don't think they care who wins the game.
No, not at all. By the way, Rick says, I can give you one more shot. Try the Wizard of Oz.
No. I'm not going to sing.
So Rick just banned himself.
There you go. Good. Ban yourself. There you go. I'll be on with Pete tomorrow. You come on that show, he'll ban you. So there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. So
yes, don't forget that Pete Shepard does start off the network here in the morning from 7 to 10 a.m. Monday through Friday. The Pete Shepard Show. Jay will be back tomorrow morning with Pete at 8:30.
I'll be on 8:30. I'll be on 8:30 with Pete. Yep.
And if I look real quick through my message here, because he did tell me who else he's going to be there tomorrow. Patrick Gilroy will be joining him at 9:05 tomorrow morning. After this show is Lloyd Vance's Insider Football with Kevin Midget, and his son will be joining us as well. So that'll be on to close out the night. And then, of course, tomorrow, we'll be back with the Drive with Q, my hermano, from 4 to 6 p.m., the Drive with Q. And then Wednesday will be the full lineup back on the network, as we will have Pete Shepard in the morning, followed by Martinez and Company. Rock Riley will be joining me on Wednesday. So Rock will be with me. City Garage Motorsports will be with me to Fast Chat with CGM. So that'll be on as well. And then the Drive with Q will be on until about 5 on Wednesdays. He had let everybody know to come today. And then it'll be Beav's World again, 6 o'clock. We'll name the guest a little bit later on once we get the confirmation for it. And ending up the night, we'll be Talking Hoops from 8 to 9 p.m. So thank you guys once again for the messages. Rick says, I'll be there. I missed it somewhere in between where he says, I'll be there. What did I miss?
There you go.
Something I mentioned. But
he was banning himself from my show. There you
go. Possibly. But thanks to Rick and Duncan Dad, Mickey. Always good to see you in the messages. I know normally he jumps in. He used to come in all the time with Martinez and Company, but because he's out there on the left coast, it gets up. Pete Show. There you go. That's what I thought he was getting at. But thank you all for tuning in tonight. We do appreciate it. For Beav, myself here on Beav's World. We will talk to you guys again tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Don't forget Lloyd Vance's Insider Football coming up next at 8 p.m. I appreciate you guys, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, everybody.